Hello everyone, this is Miss Jen, and it is another day and another math class. So in this video, we will talk about probability. Probability is a branch of mathematics that quantifies certainty and uncertainty. It provides numerical information or measure ranging from 0, which means impossible, to 1, which is certain. So probability provides an idea of likelihood that a specific event will occur. For example, um, tossing a die, flipping three coins, or drawing cards from a standard deck of cards. You can also use probability to predict the weather tomorrow. Probability gives us the language to describe the random phenomena in a logical and consistent way. So why do we need to study probability? We study probability because the world is inherently unpredictable. From our daily decisions, like should I bring an umbrella today, or should there be a class this afternoon, or um, what time will the bus arrive, or in scientific research, like is the new drug effective? In education, you can also ask, is the new teaching approach effective? And in technological advances, you can also ask, what would be the result if we use this new machine? So probability is a tool that turns uncertainty into actionable insight. It forms the foundation of statistics, machine learning, risk assessment, finance, gaming, and quality control. So without probability, we could not measure risk, measure uncertainty, or interpret data variability, or even make informed and sound decisions and predictions. In short, probability helps us reason clearly about what is uncertain, unknown, and make better decisions under this uncertainty. So in this video, I will discuss 5 different problems using 5 different approach. So to start, we have this problem. Suppose that 4 cards are drawn successively from an ordinary deck of cards with replacement and at random. So what is the probability of drawing at least one king? So based on this problem, we know that there are 52 cards in the standard deck of cards. And one of the conditions states that we need to draw 4 cards successively with replacement. And we want to know the probability of drawing at least one king from these 4 cards. So in order to solve this problem, we will use the complementary probability approach because it is easier to find the probability of drawing at least one king using the formula 1 minus the probability of no kings are drawn. So for example, we draw 1 card and the probability of drawing a king in a single draw is 4 over 52, which is also equal to 113. So we know that in the standard deck of cards, there are 4 kings. May it be a king of clubs, a king of diamonds, king of spades, or king of hearts. So that means that is 4 possible outcomes out of 52. And this can be reduced, which is equal to 1 over 13. Conversely, since we want to use the complementary probability approach, we want to know the probability of not drawing a king in one draw. So this means that we will need to subtract 1 over 13 from 1. So that means 1 minus 1 over 13, that would be equal to 12 over 13. So 12 over 13 is the probability of not drawing a king in one draw. So after drawing one card, we will need to return it. Because the cards are drawn with replacement, each draw is independent, meaning the probability remains the same for every draw. So what is the probability of not drawing any kings in 4 successive draws? So for example, when we take the first draw, we can get the Queen of Hearts, then return it. Then for the second draw, we get 7 of Clubs, then return it. In the third draw, Ace of Diamonds, and return it. And lastly, Jack of Spades, and return it. So as you can see, that is an example of the probability of not drawing a king in 4 sessions with replacement. Hence, the probability of not drawing any kings in 4 successive draws is equal to the product of the probability of each draw. So that means the probability of not drawing any kings is equal to 12 over 13. That is the probability of not getting a king in the first draw, times the probability of not getting a king in the second draw, times the probability of not getting a king in the third draw, and times the probability of not getting a king on the fourth draw. Or in other words, that is 12 over 13 raised to the power of 4. And if we compute it, the probability of not getting a king is 20,736 over 28,561, which is approximately equal to 72.6%. This means that the probability of not drawing any kings in 4 successive draws is 72.6%. Now, we will use this information in order to get the probability of drawing at least one king. So, in the complementary probability approach, the event of drawing at least one king is the complement of the event of drawing no king. So it means that the probability of drawing at least one king is equal to 1 minus the probability of drawing no kings. We already have this value. So we will deduct 0.26 from 1. And we get 0.274 or 27.4%. So therefore, the probability of drawing at least one king in 4 successive draws is 7,825 over 28,561, or approximately equal to 27.4%. Okay? So now let's move to the second problem. So probability can also be used in getting the probability in tossing a die. So in this problem, a fair die is tossed 8 times. What is the probability of exactly 2 threes, 3 ones, and 3 6? Okay, so in this problem, we know that we have to toss a fair die 8 times. So the total possible outcomes are, so in the first toss, there are 6 possible outcomes times. In the second toss, there are 6 possible outcomes. In the third toss, there are also 6 possible outcomes, and so on. So 6 raised to the power of 8. That would represent the total possible outcomes. So according to our problem, what is the probability of getting exactly two threes, three ones, and three six? So in this problem, we will use a multinomial probability formula. So to find the probability of rolling exactly two threes, three ones, and three six in 8 tosses of paired die, we can use the multinomial probability formula as the trials are independent and there are more than two possible outcomes. So in this formula, we know that we need to get exactly two threes, three ones, and three six. So the total number of outcomes, that means we need to add 2 plus 3 is 8. So there are 8 outcomes or positions. So if we count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we can think of arranging a multi-set like two threes, three ones, and three six. So take note, the probability of each specific phase is 1/6. So in the multinomial probability formula, we can find the probability of rolling exactly two threes, three ones, and three six in 8 tosses of dice. Okay, using this formula. Okay, wherein n is the total number of possibilities divided by the product of events. So the probability is equal to 8 factorial divided by 2 factorial times 3 factorial times 3 factorial. Okay. So 8 represents the total possible outcomes. 2 represents the two threes, the three ones, and three six times the probability of getting uh, two threes, three ones, and three six. So when we calculate this, this is equal to 560 times 1 over 1,679,616, or which is equal to 0.033%. So as you can see, we only have a little probability or chance of getting this two threes, three ones, and three six. Hence, the probability of exactly getting two threes, three ones, and three six in 8 rolls is 35 over 104,976, which is approximately equal to 0.033%. Okay. So again, you can use the multinomial probability formula if the trials are independent and there are more than two possible outcomes, just like this example. So let's move to another problem. This time, we will be identifying the number of valid teams composing of boys and girls. So in this problem, a team consisting of 3 boys and 4 girls must be formed from a group of 9 boys and 8 girls. If 2 girls are feuding and refuse to play on the same team, how many possibilities do we have? So in this problem, we know that we have 9 boys. Okay. And from these 9 boys, we only need to choose 3 boys from them. Also, in this problem, we have 8 girls. And from these 8 girls, we'll only choose 4. However, one of the conditions states that two specific girls, let's call them girl number 1 and girl number 2, refuse to be on the same team. So we are asked on how many possibilities do we have or the number of valid teams we can form. So in order to solve this problem, first, we need to count all possible teams without restrictions. This means that we need to know the number of ways to choose 3 boys from 9 boys. So we can use this formula. So that means from 9 boys, taken 3, that is equal to 84. So that means there are 84 ways to choose 3 boys from 9 boys. Next, we need to know the number of ways to choose 4 girls from 8 girls. The same way, we will use the formula 8 taken 4. So that is equal to 70. So this means that there are 70 ways to choose 4 girls from 8. So therefore, the total teams without restrictions, we only need to multiply 84 and 70. So 84 times 70, that is equal to 5,880. So the total number of teams without restriction is equal to 5,880. Now let's go back to our main problem. It has been stated that there are two specific girls who refuse to be on the same team, and we want to know the number of valid teams we can form. So to solve this one, we need to subtract the teams where two feuding girls are both included. So if both feuding girls are chosen, we must pick 2 more girls from the remaining 6. So we will use the formula n minus 2 taken k. So 8 minus 2, that would be 6, taken 2, which is equal to 15. So teams with both feuding girls, we will multiply the number of ways which we can form a team. Okay, that is 84 because there are 84 ways of choosing 3 boys from 9 boys. And 15, there are 15 ways of choosing 2 girls from the remaining 6. So that means 1,260. And we will use this information and subtract it from our total to get the valid number of teams or to get the number of valid teams. So valid teams is equal to total teams, which is equal to 5,880 minus invalid teams, which is equal to 1,260. So the difference is equal to 4,620. Okay, so there are 4,620 possibilities to form valid teams. Okay, so let's move to problem number 4. In this problem, it talks about conditional probability. So let me read the problem. Suppose that 15% of the population of a country are unemployed women, and a total of 25% are unemployed. What percent of the unemployed are women? Okay, so we know that there are two variables here. Um, the population of the unemployed persons or people and the population of women. So let U be the person which is unemployed, and let W represent the person which is a woman. So first, we need to get the probability of a person which is unemployed. That means P probability of unemployed is equal to 25% or 0.25. This is given in our problem. Another given information is that the probability of a person is a woman at the same time unemployed is equal to 15% or 0.15. So the probability a person is a woman given they are unemployed, this is a conditional probability. That is woman such that he or she is unemployed. So we will use this formula. Apply the conditional probability formula in order to solve this problem. So that means we will use the information given that. So the numerator tells us the percentage of women who are unemployed. So that is 15% or um, 0.15, while the denominator shows the percentage of the population which is unemployed, and that is 0.25 or 25%. So using the conditional probability formula, we can identify the percentage of the unemployed that are women. So that means 0.15 divided by 0.25 is equal to 0.60 or 60%. This means that 60% of the unemployed population are women. Okay? So in this example, we have shown the importance of using the conditional probability formula. So moving to the last example, we have there are 5 boys and 6 girls in the class. For an oral exam, their teacher calls them one by one and randomly. So what is the probability that the boys and girls are alternately arranged? And B, what is the probability that boys are called first, then followed by all the girls? And lastly, compare the answer of parts A and B. So to answer this one, we know that there are 5 boys and 6 girls, making a total of 11 students. So this means that the total number of ways to call them one by one is 11 factorial. So there are 39,916,800 ways of calling them one by one, randomly. And to answer A, we know that there are 6 girls and 5 boys. And the only way for them to be arranged alternately, we need to call first the girl, followed by the boy. And the last would also be the girl. So that means girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. So the number of ways the girls can be arranged is 6 factorial, or that is 720 ways. And the number of ways the boys can be arranged is 5 factorial, or 120 ways. So to get the favorable outcomes, we just need to multiply 6 factorial and 5 factorial. So that means 720 times 120. So that means that there are 86,400 ways for these favorable outcomes. So the probability that boys and girls will be arranged alternately is equal to 6 factorial times 5 factorial divided by the total number of ways, which is 11 factorial. So calculating, we will arrive at the probability of 1 over 462. So therefore, the probability that boys and girls can be arranged alternately is 1 over 462. Moving forward, the next question, what is the probability that boys are called first, then followed by all the girls? So since there are 5 boys and 6 girls, we will have this sequence. That would mean boys, 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 boy, boy, then girl, 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 and girl. So the number of ways the boys can be arranged is 5 factorial or 120 ways, and the number of ways the girls can be arranged is 6 factorial or 720 ways. So to get the favorable outcome, we just need to multiply 5 factorial and 6 factorial. So that means 120 times 720, that is equal to 86,400 ways. With this information, we will divide it to the total number of ways, which is 11 factorial. So this means 5 factorial times 6 factorial divided by 11 factorial. And calculating, we will get the probability of 1 over 462. So this means that the probability that boys are called first, then followed by the girls, is 1 over 462. So for the last question, we need to compare the answers to parts A and B. So for A, the probability that boys and girls are arranged alternately is 1 over 462. And for B, the probability that boys are called first, followed by the girls, is also 1 over 462. Amazing. As you can see, the probabilities of for parts A and B are just equal. Even though the patterns look different, the number of ways to arrange the specific into those specific gender-based lots is just the same, which is 1 over 462. So I think that would be all for my discussion. So I hope you learn about conditional probability, multinomial probability, okay? And thank you for your time and your attention. I hope you earn and you learn. Goodbye.